Hey guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to analyze a key business metric, the average order value or AOV, and I'll be using Power BI to do it. I'll start with a business example to set the scene for our AOV discussion. Then I'll explain what this metric means and why it's important. As we move to Power BI, you'll see how I take simple numbers and turn them into clear visuals and useful insights. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of AOV and how to use it in your own work. So here you guys can see the average order value or AOV dashboard, and this is where we want to end up. Now, as always, before we look at how to do this in Power BI, how to work through this and how to actually create this, I want to take you guys through the case, the business case, and then the user stories. So let's start by jumping over to PowerPoint and look at the average order value. Dear awesome data analyst, I hope this email finds you in good spirits. Lately, I've been pondering our sales strategies and the results they've been yielding. Our sales figures have been decent, but I'm interested in understanding more about the depth of each customer's transaction. Are they buying more from us over time? Are there particular months where each transaction seems to be bigger than usual? For our next review, I'd love to get a perspective on how our customers' spending habits have evolved. While the overall sales numbers gives us one side of the story, I'm curious about the nuances of each transaction. It might give us a hint about the effectiveness of our pricing strategies, new product lines, and perhaps the impact of our marketing campaigns. Could you help shed some light on this with your analytical magic? A visual representation would be of immense value, especially if we can see trends over time. This could be a great base for our discussions in refining our upcoming marketing and sales initiative. Once again, I'm turning to you to make sense of patterns hidden in our data. Best regard, Charlie Thompson, Head of Sales Strategies. Oops. Okay. So the whole point with this is that it's for you guys and myself also for that sake, is to get a use case from a stakeholder, from some person, and then try to figure out what is important to focus on here. So what is it that we need to do? What are the figures that we need to focus on? How do we need to show stuff? Like, how do we know how to present something to this person so that we kind of solve their problem and we help the business respond to the questions that are hidden in this mail? So what you can do now is you can stop and you can try and just read the mail a couple of times and ask yourself, if I were to respond to this person with some data and a dashboard, what would I focus on? And that is what the next step is part of, and that is user stories. So user stories is something we write in agile development, and it's just to give it kind of a focus and kind of be as precise as possible to ask to what is it that we're going to try to solve. Now I'm going to move to that section now, but if you want to, you can stop, read the email, a couple times and think about it. What are the things I need to pick up on here to be able to solve this for Charlie Thompson? So let's go to the next page. So user stories. So the first one is analyze monthly AOV trends. As the head of sales strategy, I want to track the monthly trends of average order value to gauge customer spending behaviors over time. That's the first thing that we want to focus on. We want to solve that. We want to give him something where he can say, okay, now I can do this. Second thing is highlight months with AOV spikes. As the head of sales strategy, I want to identify months with unusually high AOV to understand seasonal or promotional impacts. Are there specific season or promotions that makes the average order value spike? Another thing we want to solve and visualize and enable them to analyze. Number 3, correlate AOV with marketing campaigns. As the head of sales strategy, I want to compare AOV trends with marketing campaign timeliness to assess their influence on spending. Another thing we want to try and focus on. Examine AOV post-product launches. As the head of sales strategy, I want to evaluate the AOV in the months following new product launches to understand their immediate impact. Basically, we launch a product, we see that our average order value increases. Number 5, visualize AOV patterns. As the head of sales strategy, I want a visual representation of AOV trends to easily present and discuss during strategy meetings. So based on this email, these are the user stories that I have derived. That means this is what I want to focus on when I'm kind of checking off my work to make sure that I have solved something for the person that have asked me to solve something for them. You don't have to write user stories or word it like this. It's just one way of doing it. But it really comes back to a focus and a focus for you to know what to focus on as you create the dashboard, as you work with the data, as you transform it, instead of just doing a lot of different things. Okay. Now, I referred to AOV quite a lot while I read that. So let's just understand, what does AOV actually mean? So average order value, AOV, represents the average amount spent by a customer in a single purchase. For example, in April, our online stores had 100 transactions, and the total revenue from these transactions was 5,000. This gives us an average order value of 50, 5,000 divided by 100. So how can we apply this? Monitoring the AOV provides insight into customer spending behaviors and the overall value derived from each transaction. It can guide pricing strategies, product bundling options, and promotional offers, aiming to increase the average spend per customer and drive revenue growth. Again, you don't need to remember this verbatim, but hey, if you work at a company where you have sales, you have order values, maybe this is something you can look into to suggest that maybe you want to try and implement something like this. So that is the business case, that is the use case, that is what we're going to try and work with now as we move into creating this dashboard in Power BI. If we then move into and we look at the actual dashboard at the end, what you can see here is you can see the average order value, you have some time on top, number of orders, the order amount, the average order amount. I have added it to show a little bit geography per city, and down here we have a matrix or pivot table with the marketing campaigns, different customer segments, different months, which campaigns are driving average order value from different customer segments, and then different average order amounts, how it is divided between the different campaigns over time. Then we have some filters on the left side. So this is where we want to end up. And at the end, I'm going to go back to the user stories. I'm going to read them one by one and try and see if I can solve it with the dashboard that I have made, to really see if I have kind of solved the challenge that I've been laid out in front of me. So let's start. I have a blank file here called untitled, no data. So let's start by picking the CSV file. And as you know, if you check the description, you have the CSV file, and you can follow along and you can do this yourself. You can use this as a simple learning thing, or you can use this as a project and add it to your portfolio if you want to show that, let's say, for a company where this might be relevant. You can say, hi, I've done some analysis on something relevant, and this is an example of that. So let's start by go to get data, and then we go to text/CSV. And I'm going to find that. So I'm going to go to average order value, and there you can see we have that CSV. So now we're going to connect to that. Let's preview that. So this is what the file looks like. We can go to transform data. Now it goes into Power Query, basically where Power BI reads in the data. And we have some different columns. We have the date, customer ID, order ID, the order amount, the campaign, product launch, city, payment method, customer segment, sales representative, if there were some discounts or not. Great. Different dimensions that we can use to play around with. I'm going to change the date field to only date. So we're going to add a new step. We have that at the date field. That's fine. I think that's what I'm going to do for now. I'll close and apply. And now it's going to load this data into Power BI so we can start to actually work with it. So you'll see on the right side here, you see it's populating the table. You can see now we have this table and we have some different fields. The next thing that I like to do first is I like to go to view, and then I like to choose one of these themes. I'm going to use Classroom. That is the one that I like the most, so I always use that. You can pick another one, just totally up to you guys. And pick something you like. Don't pick something that I pick. Pick something you like. So let's go to Classroom. We have that. And just in terms of saving some time, I'm going to keep going back and forth so I can reference this so that I know what it is that I'm building and I don't forget anything. We're going to go Insert, and we'll go text box, and we'll put that on top. I'm going to make it go across, and I will type average order value. That is kind of the heading on the report. Let's give that a 24. We can bold that. That's fine. I'll keep it with a white background. I'm going to click here on the white space, and then I'll go over here and I'll go to canvas background, color, gray, 50%. You see everything is gray now. If I go back now up here, then I will click this banner again, or header, or whatever you want to call it, effects, turn that off, transparency to 0. We're starting to get a nice outline now. Great. And then I'm going to add one slicer, or filter if you want to call it that. We'll take this one. We will add that over here. Let's make it the width that I wanted to. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to make it move one down. So I'm going to go hold shift and the button down. It moves exactly X number of pixels downwards. Drag this to the left so it's the same way. And in this one, I'm going to add city. So that is the first field that I have. First slicer. So it's gonna create that slicer now, and I'm gonna change this to a slicer settings vertical list. We're gonna make it a drop down like that, and then I will make the effects background on this one also white. Great. Then we have city, customer segment, marketing campaign, payment method. Start with that. So I'm gonna go Control C, Control V, and then I can just drag that in. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Same height. I like to keep it consistent. Put it up there, shift down, marketing campaign. Great. Customer segment. Let me copy one more time. And then we can replace this one with customer segment. Great. And the last one is payment method. These become different filters that I can filter the actual dashboard on if I want all the different elements to change. Great. So I'm going to do that. I can see that, okay, so in this one there is what we call a date table. This is a generated table with something called DAX, which stands for Data Analysis Expressions. So we need to add that, and this is going to be our date dimension. I'm going to go to modeling, new table. I'm going to copy and paste this one. And what this is going to do, it's going to generate a table with a column for year, month name short, and month. And it does that by referencing the date field in the main table that we added before. So I'm going to press enter. And you're going to see now that we're going to get one more table. So I'll go to this, mark as date table. We have that. We find the date column. Great. And we need to do one more thing. We need to connect these tables together now. Let's do that. Let's go to this one. We'll go to the model view. Then I'm going to drag this one down here, and I'll grab the date and I'll drag it to date. This is now going to filter downwards, and for each one row in this one, it will filter many rows in this one. So this is a one to many relationship. You can see the one number here, and you can see the star here, which stands for many. Great. We can go back. Now we have that. That means that I'm gonna hide that filter. We can add. Let me see. I can just copy paste these two elements now because we have the year and month up there. Now we have that in there. For the sake of the video, I'm going to show you guys how to create one of them. So I'll add a slicer, month name short, to the field. I'll drag it over here. And then this is going to be a slicer settings. It's going to be a tile. And I'll drag that to the left over here. I'm going to make the same height as year, like that. Great. And I can go format painter. I can paint so it has the same formatting. You can see that here, that it's not a logical order on the months. It should be January, February, March, April, etc. So you can go to month name short. You can go sort by column, and then month number. That will sort the field by the integer that represents the different months. So we did that for month name short. We can also do it on month name just for the sake of doing it, in case we use that later. Great. So what I've done so far, I've added different elements. I've added a banner, and now we are ready to build kind of the actual dashboard. So we have 3 KPIs here on the left. So let's start with number of orders, which I believe is just a distinct count. Let's take a look at this one. You can see here, It is a distinct count of order ID. We have a sum of order amount, and we have a division. Actually, we have an average. Okay, fair enough. Let's just open this just to show you guys. Right click on the table where you want the measure to go. And then I'm going to write some very basic DAX. So number of orders equals distinct count, tab, order ID, tab, close parentheses. Great. For it to just be put on the top, I'm just going to give it an underscore at the beginning. Enter. Great. New measure, and then we will go order amounts. We'll go order amount equals sum of the order amount. Again, just I do this because I'm so used to it, but sum open parentheses, order amount, it highlights it, tab, close the parentheses. Great, and then we're gonna do average order. Just make sure we type amount correctly. And then one more, new measure, average order amount equals average order amount. Enter. Great. Now we have 3 different KPIs. So now when you have the data model, you have the filters, you have the top part, now you can start to actually just create elements, and now things starts to pick up a little bit. So let's create the KPIs on the left. So we'll create one KPI, and then we'll finish formatting that KPI before we do anything else. So I think I had number of orders. You can select here, it goes in, and then we're gonna go visual, the value, we can make it a little bit smaller. And the label, we can make that smaller. Let's put the effect, the background on it. And then I want a 1000 separator on the number here. It's a little bit easier to read. Great, so now we have that. Now I'm just gonna go Control C, Control V. Then I can just copy paste that. And the great thing is that when I do that, if I now go in with order amount, I don't need to redo all the formatting that I just did. Which is quite useful. Otherwise, you'll be clicking around quite a bit. I'm going to set this to none because I want to see the full amount. I'm going to add 1000 separated on this also. And we will turn it to a whole number. Let's remove the 0.14. We don't need that. Great. Then we have the average order amount below. Like this. Control V. We go like this, and we go average order amount. Great. On the average order amount, I'm going to keep decimals just for the sake of it. So here we have average order amount by month name short. Great. So it's a line chart. Let's add that. Oh, I'm going to put it right there. It says shift, right click, drag this down. Average order amount goes on the y-axis. Month name short goes on the x-axis. That should give us this over time, which it does. Effects. Where is it? Oh, wrong one. Effects. Background. Gotta make it white so it pops up a little bit. Title. Let's make that a little bit darker, easier to see. And let's turn on the data labels. Now, I'm not gonna mess around that much with the colors. I will let you guys do that in as you guys want to. I'm actually gonna add, this is a special section here. I'm gonna add a average line, and then we'll call it average. Again, I'm not gonna do too much with the colors here. I want you guys to just see how I do it, and then select for yourself which colors you want to use. Data value, both. You can see it's gonna populate it, average. Then, it's fine. Let's not do too much. Average order amount by month name, short and marketing campaign. So I'm gonna go Control C, Control V. Come on. Yep. There we have another one. Let's drag that all the way over here. And then we will make this into a stacked column chart. Now we have month name short and average order amount, and we need to add the marketing campaign to the legend. it will show the division in between. And it's to try and show which campaign is taking the most space in different months. Let's try to turn on the data labels here. It's not enough room. If you want to, you can make it larger and maybe it will get enough room. I will let you guys play with that. You can always also expand it and you can see the full picture if that makes it easier. But for now, I'm going to keep it like this. Great. And then we have average order value by city and the marketing campaign and a pivot down here on the right. Let's take the city field and we need to change it to a data category city so that it becomes a map field in Power BI. Then I believe, which map is it that we are using? I can never remember this. Okay, it's this one. So we'll add the map. Locations goes to city. I think average amount is going on bubble size. The larger or the bigger average order amount, the bigger the bubble. Great. Let's just copy paste that over here so we take some of the formatting with us. So we have that now. That looks good. I can see that on map settings I have changed it to grayscale. The bubbles pop a little bit more then, so that's good. Then we have this pivot right here. Let's create that. So I believe it's this. We align it, and then we go all the way out. I want to take this one, Format Painter, to take some of the formatting with me. Okay, it looks good. And then I believe it is marketing campaign. We have, what is the customer segment? Yes. Let's go average order amount on the values and month name short on the columns. And then we expanded it down one level so you can see it full. And now you can see there's a lot of numbers here. And we don't want that. It's a little bit too much. Let me make this map a little bit smaller. Maybe not that small. That's good. Drag this one over here. Because there's so many numbers, we want something that indicates high or low. So that's what I'm going to add here. I can see that I made the text and everything much more condensed in this version. Basically means you can go here, you can go to values, you can change it to Calibri. It'll make it much more condensed. You do the same on all the different headers. It will slowly but surely make it smaller and smaller so that you can see more of the numbers together. It's a little bit of scrolling here, but it's fine. The last thing I want to do is on the average order amount, I want something to indicate low or high. So I'm going to go lowest value. Let's try white. Highest value. Let's try this green. Let's see what this looks like. Don't format on empty values. Okay, so you can see it turns into sort of a heat map. Let's see if we can make it heat a little bit harder. That's yellow. And red, what does that look like? Okay, you guys can play around with the settings here, but I think you guys understand where it is that I'm trying to go with this. It's just to indicate what is high or low. If you only care about the outliers, then you can go back, you can go to background colors. You can change this to white, and that will make it, more focused on the highest and the lowest. Great, but this is actually where we want to be. Now we're pretty close. I didn't do all the colors the exact same stuff, but more or less the same thing. And this is kind of what I wanted to show you guys how to create and build. And you guys can play around and do some of your own stuff also. Let's now go back to the previous PowerPoint and let's look at the second slide. Sorry, third slide. So analyze. Basically, we want to look at the user stories and look at the dashboard and see if we have kind of figured this out. So analyze monthly AOV trends. So I think this one, monthly AOV trends, I think that is solved by this one. I think here you can see for the different months, which ones of the segments is, driving the percentage of AOV. You could, if you want to, change it to be a chart like this, so that you can see, what is a high or a low month. I went with the one I want to see what drives it, so I did the percentage. Up to you guys, but you understand the point. So I think that solves the first one. The second one is highlight months with AOV spikes. Here, I thought this one shows that, where it's more focused on only the average order value, and with the average line, you can see what is above or below the average of AOV for that year. So I thought that was good. You can go in, you can select a specific segment, or you can select a city or something else and see, what is the AOV spikes in different months at different times. So I thought that solved that. Third one, correlate AOV with marketing campaigns. That is what I tried to do down here. Actually, what does it say? I want to compare AOV trends with marketing campaign to look at their influence on spending. And we don't have the spending KPI in here, so we can see the average order amount and how it spikes based on different campaigns and which months and different campaigns had low and high values. We can see that. But because we don't have the spending, it's hard to correlate the actual amount of spending versus the average order amount for that marketing campaign. So that is actually a metric that would have been great to have, but I still think it correlates with the marketing campaigns, but maybe not the spending of the marketing campaigns. Okay. The next thing is examine AOV post product launches. This one, I actually don't think we have solved. I know there is a product launch field in here, so we can go Control C, Control V. If we add the product launch here, you can see yes and no. This one, I actually don't think we have solved, and to be honest, I didn't think about it. So that is one where I would come back and say this is one I need to expand on and maybe focus on a little bit more. The last one, visualize AOV patterns. I think this shows it visually in different contexts, even by city or marketing campaign towards, which customer segments that they fall into. So I think we have solved that one also. So overall, I think this does a good job of drilling into the average order value. I think it handles a lot of the user stories, not number 4, but I think it's still done quite a good job on the other ones. That's it for today's look at average order value. If you found this video helpful, then please give it a like, subscribe, or even share it with someone else. And if you have any questions or feedback, you can just drop those in the comment below. I always look forward to your input, and I will see you guys in the next video.